This is the Turner water bill.
I can deliver that for you.
And we'll drop these in the post office.
You bet.
Since I don't drive.
Okay, that's very good. We can do that.
Okay, let's go. This was the first house built outside the city of Turner. My house.
Really?
The city limits was back almost to the road, and I had to buy my own pipe and from the city limits to have city water in my house in those days.
Are we going out to Cloverdale today at all?
Yes, we are.
Good, because I want to ask you a question when we get out there. Thank you.
What are they doing to this house over here?
They've remodeled
They're remodeling
completely.
A lot of that's going on. These are young men that are coming back to town to live after being gone for 10 and 15 years.
How nice. It sure looks clean and neat.
It sure does. This property here was all Henry McHenry. He had a dairy barn. About right in here. The house was here. And then it was sold to Lawrence. As we leave Turner, we leave the property where the wrecking yard is, and the house where the Griffiths live was the Carlton Smith place.
Is that the new house that was built?
Yeah, where the new house was built. And the Aaron's property was the Marianne Matt donation land claim. The Aaron's has bought it from her.
Now you're speaking of the up here.
Yeah. Now
and the former name was Griffith?
Well, yeah, the Griffiths live in the house now.
Okay.
But it was a Carlton Smith place.
Carlton Smith, thank you.
And then Aaron's is bought they bought part of this place from this piece of property. Eddie Aaron's did and built this house. But this was the Aaron's property here, which was the donating land camp. This was the road here into the first sawmill. It was when they cut Turner Hill.
Huh.
Now, take it easy down here just a little while. As long as we don't have something, you ain't got a car behind.
You know
Why don't you pull over?
Exactly. I've got my lights on.
I'm going to tell you folks something now that you can hardly believe. As we now take off, the road used to go down here on this piece of the property to here. We're now nearing the Baker donation land claim. Now slow down.
Do you want me to go up? Do you want me to take a ride?
No. I'm just going to talk to you now. All right. Go right here beyond this drive. You see here? Right here, our property, there was another street bridge right here into this property. This was the original road to Salem.
Oh, really?
And it went up the hill to the Watson gas place and went back on the road and back down. I'll tell this story now while we're here. When Delaney was murdered, my grandfather, great-grandfather, William Harrison Baker, and Jess Harpool is what my family have always said his name was. Oregon Historical Society tell me I'm wrong, that it's Harpool. But I have a book Marion County early settlers, and it says Jess Harpool, P-O-O-L. So I'm sure. But anyhow, the writer rode up the hill. Jess Harpool was spending the night. He lived in Junction City, and my grandfather paid him $320 to bring him west. And I'll tell the reasons for this a little later. But anyhow, the writer went up this road to the house, told him that Delaney had been murdered. Jess and Harrison, as they called him, got on their horses, and they went down to the spring where the men had tied their horses, and they saw that there was a crooked shoe on the one horse, and so they followed the horse tracks, and they crossed Mill Creek down here where the bridge is, below the Prinham Annex, and they took the horse into the the delivery stable in Salem. Go ahead now, go ahead.
I can't.
When you can.
Yeah.
They found out it was a rented horse, and that's how they tracked the murders of and so when they had the trial, a lot of this is just history. That my grandmother lived with us the last 2 years of her life, and I was 17 years of age. My sister don't remember her telling all these stories that I'm telling. And this is, the Baker line comes across right here, and there was a rock in that out there. And when they changed the road, the Bakers gave them the right of way this way, and they got that old road back into their property. Okay? Now we're going to go up to Gas, and that's where my great-grandparents built. Now, that used to be a road right there that went up. The Heron Cemetery is up here on top. The Herons came here in 1843. They were come across with Stephen Meek, who got them lost out going to bed.
So Harrison was your grandfather, is that right?
William Harrison was my grandfather.
Your great-grandfather or your grandpa?
He was my great-grandpa.
Okay.
Now the next place I'm going to show you is my great-grandfather didn't marry till he was 37 years of age. Turn right here. I have rode down this hill on the top of a load of hay.
This was a dirt road?
This was a dirt road. Originally, I think this was the main highway clear through to Mahama. And I'll tell you why. After my great-grandfather came here and settled up here, he had been born on the Ohio River.
Go ahead.
On the Ohio River, and had seen floods of that nature, and then he moved on left home, and he owned a sawmill in Wisconsin. And lo and behold, in 1979, our minister and us went to a convention in Baltimore, Maryland. I was designated. This was the Reform School graveyard. Go ahead now. Now, right up here on top, we enter the Baker donation land claim again. I have the will and all the documents where the 8 children signed them off to my grandfather, their rights, after he paid them their inheritance. Now we're in the Baker donation land claim. This house here, go on just a little more.
Okay.
This was an open field when I was a kid. Right here is where we want to stop for a second. Now, the house that you see right up there, see the house right?
The red house?
No, the house here with the roof. That was my grandmother's garden. Pull up just a little.
Okay.
Now you see the house. See it here?
Yeah.
That's the house they built. They, my grandfather, to pay the heirs out, he sold half of the estate to gas, and he gave each one of the family $500. Go ahead.
Was this a 640-acre claim?
No, this is 2,320. This was my dad's share of the property. Go ahead. This is the right-of-way right there. Back, no, I guess the right-of-way is here. There was 80 acres in the back of that place, and this is where you take the right-of-way here, and it goes back to the 80 acres and behind. This right here on this side, this spring was sold to the state of Oregon for water for the penitentiary, which was a reform school at that time. Now, this is the division line of the estate. This is gas property now. Go ahead.
Okay, just a moment.
My great-grandfather, this country was full of coyotes when he came. He became a sheep herder, and where Corbett Ballpark is, yeah. My grandfather killed a bitch coyote with 5 pups in a hollow log right there, and he bought 2. Now when we get down here to this oak tree in front of the gas place, we'll kind of pull off the road again.
I shall do.
Now this is the original house. Just pull off right here
I
and
have
stop.
to be careful because
That guy's trying to leave, I
the
think.
gravel is kind of crazy.
Okay. Now the original house was built here, where this house is. The barn was built up here, and then the gas bought and built another barn right here, which they tore out too. The house here, there was 2 oak trees here when I was little. The one on this side of the road, and my dad tells that the yoke of the oxen used to be in the branches of this tree. It rotted out. It came across the plains. Wow. I always thought that was kind of interesting.
Say that again now.
The yoke,
Yeah.
wooden yoke that was
Yeah.
on the oxen was in that crotch of that tree. That it rotted out.
Oh.
I can remember the tree was smaller.
Huh.
Okay, now we're going to come on. I'm not sure that I'm right in this next statement, but the original school for this area, the school section, when you understand, when they plotted this country for settlers, they ever so often they left a half section for schools.
Yeah.
And this was
that Union Baptist School?
Huh?
Was that Union Baptist School? Do you know what the name of the school was?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you in a second.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. Now, whoa. About right here. This is the beginning of the school district, and they sold it to Witzel. Thus, the school used to be up on this fence line here, and they moved it over on 22, the Witzel School, and when they sold it to them, and my grandfather was one of the, he was 21 years of age when he was still going to the 8th grade, and that's school year, he they had married 5 boys. They were on a big bunch of them. They were in their 20s. Were still in the 8th grade. They had married 5 school teachers off in the beginning of that school year. And then you get a new school teacher and a boy get married, and so they went to school. Tom Herron was one of them. That was in the 21-year-old too. Tom Herron and Solan Baker were great buddies, and they came up to the school. And when they walked into the school, you can drive on now.
Okay.
I'll just keep talking. They came in, and there was a saddlebag beside the school desk, but they didn't see any teacher. And so pretty soon a man showed up. He came in, and about 5 or 6 minutes after he called the class to order, they began to throw spit wads and shoot they drilled their rulers, and they would put clover seed in the rulers, and then they would flip them like this, and it would rat-tat across the ceiling, and bango! A Bowie knife showed up, and he dropped it on the desk like this, and it just stood there and quivered. And he opened his saddlebag and laid 2 6-shooters down. And we're going to go this way now. And he they settled down and began the same episode again. And he threw another knife to the back wall, and they looked at him, and he had both 6-shooters in his hands. He said, "I'm going to use these next." He graduated all those boys at 21 out of the 8th grade. Got rid of them.
What was the name of the school?
Witzel School.
Witzel School, thank you.
And if you take this road back to where it meets 22, that's where the school was moved to.
Do you know when it was founded?
No, I really don't.
Okay. The reason I ask about Union Baptist, there are records that suggest the first school in the area was 1857 called Union Baptist, and I've got to verify that. Go ahead.
Well, 67, you say?
57.
57. That would probably be right.
If that's accurate, that would be before this time then. Thank you.
Now, apparently this was what we're on was the original road clear to the Mahama.
This one here?
This road here, and let's see now. Slow down just a little. Keep moving. Here it is, right here. This here. This goes down to the coal place. C-O-L-E. And it's a big white house that's down at the end of this, and that was the overnight stage stop for the stage line when my grandparents and great-grandparents lived here.
Is it still there?
Yeah, the house is still there.
Did you want to go down to see it?
Can you imagine coming down this road in a stagecoach? This is apparently the old stagecoach stop-off, and this is all no trespassing, so If you look down the lane here, how it goes, it looks still like a stagecoach road. I'm riding my own stagecoach down this road here. Round the bend we go. Over the river and through the glen.
Down here to Only, and we can look back across to the coal place.
Okay, shall do.
And since we've gone down that, I was going to skip this piece of the story, but we'll.
It was the first one. It was a roadhouse. Is that what you said?
Yeah, it would be a hotel, roadhouse. It was the coal place. Now, Mrs. Cole was a Carlton Smith daughter, and she lived. Fay Webb built her the house. That was when we came out of the post office. The house is set there. She lived in that house. Now, when we get down here on this flat, we'll have to go down a little more.
Yeah. I see a white house.
That's a house. That's it right there. That's the overnight station.
Is that the original one or someone built later?
No, that's the original one.
I want to make sure I'm seeing it. Is it behind the trees now?
I'm going to move down enough so we can see it.
You got to keep going.
We probably should have. Wonder if we should have driven up there.
Well, it's kind of nice to get a view from here. Let's see. I've seen it before. I think it before.
Now we're heading to 72nd Street.
Okay.
David, I'm trying to map some of this on paper
Um,
and reconstruct it later.
My grandfather, William Harrison, great-grandfather, he was married second or 3rd of January 1850 at 37 years of age. And Aunt Mary was born in October of 1850. He owned a sawmill in Wisconsin, and when I went east to drove east in '79, I spent a weekend in Wisconsin at some people we knew, and Pauline wanted to go to Madison because her dad had come to this country, and he went to Madison first. Now, slow down, kind of slow down. I think it's right up here ahead where we want to turn. All right, see where this T is?
Yeah, I'll turn.
We want to turn here. Now this...
So this is 75th place.
Is it 75th?
Yeah.
Well, I'm wrong, excuse me. Here it is, 75th. Okay, anyhow, this is where we want to go. Now, this is the Reuben Lewis donation land claim.
Reuben Lewis.
Lewis. Probably, he was the older brother of the Lewis and Clark
Lewis.
thing is. Now, my family, my mother's people are Ferrises in Virginia, and the Ferrises, the Buchanans, which was President Buchanan's family, the Clark family. There is a strip. This is Ferris donation, or not donation. Ferris property. This is the Clark family. The Clark family property in Virginia is still 2,500 acres intact. My mother's first cousin lives here yet, and this 400 acres of this piece
To the left.
and.
Is that to the left or the right?
So from 1735 in the Historical Society in Washington, D.C., according to Sarah Bell Ferris, who was in 1940 was in that department of the government, she researched and this is her story, that 5 men, Edward Ferris, Buchanan, a Clark, a Lewis, and I've forgotten this man's name now. They fought with George Washington in 1735 Indian War. Every time they went, in fact, they even at an old age they fought. The same men went to the American Revolution 5 different times.
My goodness.
They were all neighbors. So we know that Reuben Lewis, that Lewis back there had a son, brother Reuben Lewis. It's possible that this Reuben Lewis is the same man. But I'm going to go ahead now.
That would be Meriwether Lewis you're speaking of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Upon further research, Reuben, the son of Meriwether Lewis, lived from February 14, 1777 to February 17, 1844. His father, Meriwether Lewis, died on October 11, 1809. The Oregon pioneer Reuben Lewis was born March 20th, 1814 and died April 6, 1886. It therefore appears that the Reuben Lewis pioneer is not the same as the Reuben, the son of Meriwether Lewis.
This is so beautiful.
Well, wait a second now.
There's Mill Creek here, right?
There's Mill Creek
yeah.
right here now.
Yep.
Well, let's go on, maybe.
Yeah. Should be coming in.
Wow.
Road up here pretty soon.
Well, it looks like this place.
Well,
What a mess.
Manufactured homes.
anyhow, the Mill Creek is the Bill point. It's been a long time since I've been out here.
Weaver Street.
Well, back there where that trailer house is approximately where the Reuben Lewis house was. It was an old house. I've been in it. I can remember my family going there. Now we'll go back to Turner now. We have skipped the cemetery. I was going to show you Reuben Lewis's grave.
At Twin Oaks?
Yeah, Twin Oaks.
We can turn back and see that.
Okay, and Dean Cromwell's tombstone. Now, Dean Cromwell lived at 5th and Whipper Road. And I have a book called The Oregon Idol. It was printed in 1962. The first circuit rider to come to Turner in 1883, his wife kept a diary, and the diary surfaced in San Francisco, we'll say in the early 60s or late 59, out of a trash can.
Oh my goodness.
Will Young's papers, when he died, went to the Presbyterian school in Oakland, and So the bum that got the diary and tried selling it, to somebody that knew that Arthur Young was the son of Will Young's, and he in San Francisco. Isn't this strange? And they called and they came and claimed the diary, and they reprinted the diary on Turner.
Huh.
And so I wrote them in '67 for a copy of the book, and they told me it had been out of print and they didn't have any. And lo and behold, April '68, UPS was at my door with a book and they wanted $5 for it, and I have a used copy of the Oregon Idol.
How wonderful.
And I do not allow it out of my sight.
No.
I had Josephus. I loaned it to somebody, and it never came home.
Yeah.
And so and there's a page and a half description of the wonderful day that Will Young spent at the Bakers, and he even told his after dinner that day, they told his impression of Oregon for the 30 years since they'd been in Oregon, and he told all kinds of. He said this valley was full of red clover when he came here.
Huh.
And we know that the hay was up to the belly of the horse as he rode through it. And the only reason why he settled on that hill is that Jess Harpole told that when the Sandy Am got Sunday pants on, it flooded the whole country. He said he lived in the water too long on the Ohio to
Be flooded again. My
we
parents
just turn
are
up
here as well. Pat it
in
on.
here.
Let's see. That one's
Go in by the red.
okay.
It's the red one we want. Now slow down when you go through.
I will, but I'm trying to make sure no one's coming. Okay.
Oh, they strike the road now. They sure keep this up nice now.
So this
you
is
see
the,
that red stone that's over there? Here's the tree stump. Then there's There's a red stone.
Yes.
That's Dean Crownwell's grave. Go ahead now. That's keep going.
Was there a lot of Masonic people in here?
Yes. Whoa. Right here's what we want. This whole row of burial here, down to that there stone, there's only two people that are not Bakers.
Really?
That one with the round one is my great-grandparents' grave. That's my grandparents' grave.
Wow.
That'll be where I'll be buried. Go ahead. Keep going down here.
Well, I'll be 100 feet from you when I'm buried. And of course, here is the Turner family.
This is
buried.
Turner.
Yep. All their children, grandchildren.
Now, turn this way.
Okay.
We go. Okay. Just stop here then.
I can roll down the window for you.
No, I'll be up. Now it's up. This grave that's beyond the thing, that's Reuben Lewis's grave.
which one is that? The tilted stone? Or
The one that's the one's this way. He and his 2 wives are buried there. Can you go up, pull up and turn around, and we'll go back out?
I shall.
You can actually make a circle out of here if you want.
Okay. All the way around it?
No, back. Well, you could have gone the other way left and made a circle, but no, you probably better not go up there. I don't think that road is.
Okay.
You can just back up. That's okay. There's McKinney right there. McKinney grave.
Yeah.
He's the one that
Whoa.
traveled with the Turners across the Oregon Trail.
Really?
Yep. I've never noticed this. I'm going to have to walk around here now. I know what I'm doing.
There used to be a building here that they could hold graveside services in.
When I first came to Turner, this cemetery was not kept up well at all. They're just doing marvelous.
No, it wasn't.
Who does this now?
Well, it's the Brindley family.
It belongs to the Brindley family.
Yeah.
Now, see that's around the headstone. That's the Harrison grave. This is the Campbells, the Browns, the Lewises, and the West family. Aunt Mary married a Howd, and the Howds are buried there. Martha married a Campbell, I think I'm right. Emma married Brown and Cole. I got Mary, Margaret, Martha, Emma, my grandfather, his brother Thomas, Aunt Minnie was a West, and Aunt Phoebe, also known as Hattie, is buried in eastern Oregon. And Thomas is buried in the cemetery at Shaw. Okay, we'll go through Turner quick right now.
I love to drive.
Good.
Well, sometimes you drive me crazy.
Well, you know what? You know what? You don't have far to go.
I know. Hey, notice the new parking lot at Turner Christian Church, a $52,000 redo of our parking lot.
Oh, how nice.
35 years old. It was time to do it.
Yeah.
About a third of it had to be replaced, and they went all the way around the corner there.
I noticed that the Red Lion in Salem
they're
has
working
been
on that,
completely
too.
redone. It was in such poor shape.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't want to go there.
And the community gardens put to bed for the winter. It'll be more vibrant next year.
Now, this piece of the road get down here to the school sign there.
Okay.
Okay, just slow down there for a second. This piece of the road in front of me is in my lifetime. The road used to go over like this and around here.
Oh, like a pipe.
It went around here. I have a picture that shows the bridge that crossed right there.
My uncle and my son were baptized in that creek there.
Excuse me, I've just recently got false teeth, so I don't talk as good as they.
You're just fine. You're just fine.
Thank you.
I'm glad that This is a treat. Thank you.
Okay. That bridge was about where this house was. It went across the creek right there.
Huh.
And that's our new tea house in town.
Yep.
We developed right there.
I'm waiting for it to get.
Property.
I'm waiting for it to get going.
Now this is a conduit house. The conduits built this house right here.
This orange and
Yeah,
sherbet.
yeah. Archie Bones lived in that house when I was a boy.
So how old is that house?
That house
Yeah.
probably was still here in the 80s at least.
And the Bones house, I think that's the one they've been working on. Somebody still owns it and nobody lives there, but people come and take care of it. I think.
Tinknell, one of the Tinknell boys owns a house, and his son committed suicide, and he won't sell the house.
Oh my goodness.
Now, this house here and the houses next to the church looked alike in my day, and they were both by conduit builders, and this is the original Presbyterian church.
Right. Yep.
The bill to this church is in the Fiji Islands.
What?
The bill was rang in this church is in the Fiji Islands, and it's about this high off the ground, and they can take it and pull the rope, and they call the people in Fiji Island church.
So it's still a church bell.
So what church is it?
This was a Presbyterian
Yeah,
church.
but the one in Fiji Islands.
It's Assembly of God.
And that's what this church became before it moved to become
Yeah.
Church on the Hill. Where you all used to go, or do go.
Now, where the house is, turn right here.
Turn left.
Yeah, turn left.
Turn left right here. Thank you, Lucille Ball. That was in a movie. She said, turn right here.
This is my great uncle Ferris owned this property. He owned this property. He owned that property. When he sold the farm in Cloverdale, he put it in real estate and rented it and lived off the income of it. Go ahead.
Is that little barn there?
That little barn was a full barn.
Okay.
Now, this go ahead. Now, slow down right here. The barn to my grandmother's place was right here. This was the original schoolhouse in Turner.
Where? Right here? Okay.
gray
I wanna-
one?
The gray
So
one.
I'm on 2nd Street and Elgin.
The ceilings are at least 14 feet high in that house.
Wow.
And was the schoolhouse on the corner?
Right here. This was the first school.
Okay.
Now,
First school. But
5315. Elgin.
Melvin, when you say it was the first school, you mean the public school or was
yeah,
it a
public school.
First public school, thank you. And that one I think I know the date on, but I'll check it out.
Can you pull into the intersection just a
I
little?
surely can.
Whoa.
Well, I see the car. Okay, how far do you want to pull in?
Just got out a little more. Whoa. Down there where the tree is, that's the. Later somewhere I'll show you the picture of that house. That's where I lived till I was 4 years old. I was born in the house just beyond this house, the Peck house, and it was a red house, and it leaked in the. And I don't blame them for tearing it down. You can turn now and go this way.
Okay.
Now, do you know anything about the Thomas family in Turner?
No, tell us.
R.O. Thomas we'll cross here.
Okay.
R.O. Thomas was the railroad man in the depot at Turner, and his daughter was Harrie Thomas Endicott. And go on across here when you can. Now the original blacksmith shop was here in Turner.
It's where this Cinder Market is?
Yeah.
My uncle owned that years ago. He ran Scallo, Joe Scallo.
Oh.
He had-
This was the dance hall. It's mentioned in several books.
Sure.
The Turner had a dance hall. That's the dance hall up there.
The second floor. Yep.
Now we're going to go straight on across.
Okay.
And see our new paved street?
Yes.
Both sides. We just paved.
Now
the
there, that was a hardware store right there. On that corner. Go ahead.
Where the Great House is?
No,
Yeah,
we're-
the corner here, the vacant lot there on the corner was a
Okay.
hardware store when I was
Okay.
in.
Okay.
Now, this is, Harrie Endicott bought this enclosed 2nd Street and built that house. She was a retired school teacher. She became the mayor of Turner. Now, this is the R.O. Thomas house.
So this house is
I mean, this was Harrie Endicott's house.
okay.
Harrie Thomas Endicott.
Okay. And she was the mayor.
And she was the mayor at one time in Turner. Now, we're going to go back that way again.
Okay.
This was the Bones. They owned the Ford garage. Archie Bones. There was Charlie Bones, Jim Bones, and Archie Bones. The Bones brothers had the. And in fact, any early pictures of Turner and that building, turn go this way now again, please.
Which way?
This way.
Yeah.
Where was the Ford dealership?
It was a Ford dealership.
Straight ahead?
Right here.
Oh, right here. Okay.
On the corner here.
Yeah. All right.
This was the feed store when I was a kid. The 5-story,
It still is.
yeah, yep. The 5-story grain elevators were right here, just right straight over. That mill race turned the turbine that was in Turner.
Yep.
It ran along right here.
Now, do you want me to go to Cloverdale? Take a right?
No, we're going to go that way, but we're going to make another thing. Turn this way now.
Yep.
That's what I was wondering. Okay.
Of course, you know this was the original Masonic Lodge.
Right. We
The
know
blue one?
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, the house sits there that's got the yellow in it. That house right over there.
Yeah, kind of.
That is the original. Perry was his name, and he was owned the original drugstore in Turner, and the Hillary place. And the first telephone line ran from this house to the Hillary place.
Huh.
Carl Duncan lived in this house. This was the Cromwell house.
This is the doctor's house. Is that who it was?
Yeah, doctor's house. This was and that building. It was his clinic originally. Turn here.
Wow, okay.
This is where Cliff Pretty lives, by the way. Today.
Yeah, the Thomases sold that house to Wes Smith. Oh, it was over there, and they built this house. This house was built by Talbot's, and she was a teller at the Turner Bank.
Okay, so we had a pharmacy in here,
Yeah.
and we had
Opera
a
This-
and a bank.
Now, this was the Watson place. The Boneses bought it, and all that land to the province. Now they crossed the bridge now.
Cross over the bridge.
And then my family bought this, sold that house. And it was, I said, on the other side, and bought this place. And that house burnt in 1940. And my mother rebuilt the house. This is the house that my mother first lived in when she came to Oregon.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
My grandmother, Baker, owned the house on that end of the street. And all that land at one time, not this piece of land, but all that land on between it and the creek was owned by the three people. Now, we're going to go this way.
Take a left.
Yeah.
On Delaney.
We're heading for Cloverdale now.
Well, Cloverdale, should we go down?
No, we're going this way.
Okay. All right. We're
There's a
going
reason for it. Gotta go slow here now. Keep going for another few feet. Go on down to that red pumpkin. Now, there used to be a mill race that ran right through here. We went right down right here, and there was a flour mill years ago. This goes down and makes a kick and back into Mill Creek. And where it made the kink, that's where the flour mill was.
Huh.
In fact, when we kept our cow and the cows in this piece this piece, it was Miles Wynn and Company. They had there was a red barn here, a tin barn. They had their thrash machines in a storage, and that where that road kinks, that's where the mill was.
They finally got their landscaping down here. It's starting to look nice.
Boy, it's beautiful.
This has always been a natural park.
Sure is pretty.
I nearly killed a cow there one day.
On purpose?
No. The Turner dump was on the other side of that road when I was a kid. And that land was just full of bottles and everything else from the high water. And this cow made a run for it. I picked up a white bottle about this big and hit her right between the heart, and she went down. I was sure that at 10 years of age I'd killed her. Now, we're coming into the Delaney property.
That's right.
This is all Delaney.
Yeah.
Both sides of the road. Now, the big spring that I'm talking about, slow down when you get beyond the house. There's a big spring that sets right up there against the hill.
That's where Turner first got its water?
No, I'm going to show you that next. That's where they found my grandparents, and just before found the horses tied. And the Delaney house was here. And that's where they found where the horses were tied. And that's from there they tracked them into Salem.
I had breakfast with the owner of the new old Delaney house this morning. There's a lot to talk about at our next YET meeting. She wants to do some stuff with us.
Yeah, now you know that just the narrow bottom of that Delaney house is the Delaney house. Edwards has built the Italian native house.
Right.
It's on the other end of it.
Yep. 3,500 square feet now
It's a
with all the new stuff. Connie, Vicki Woods, who owns it, is open to having a tour sponsored by us of that house.
That would be so lovely.
Wouldn't
we'll
that
talk
be
about
nice?
Yeah, it'll be a public event. We'll talk about it.
Now, slow down. See, it's just a little narrow piece
Yeah.
on this end. That was the original Delaney house.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh. This moment, this is such a dangerous road, people.
Yeah,
Now, where are we gonna?
we'll go straight on.
Probably to Parish Gap, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I would figure that. This is a nasty road here.
Was this a dirt road when you grew up?
Yes.
Muddy, muddy.
Now, this is a McKay property. And the McKays
What about the McKays?
no, I'm waiting for it. Let's see now. Whoa.
I can't very well whoa too much here.
Go ahead.
Okay.
McKay or McCabe?
McKay.
Thank you.
Well, anyhow, the Turner Original Waterworks is right up here on top of this hill.
Oh, okay.
Spring on. They had a great big hole in the ground that they concreted for a reservoir, and that's how they supplied the original water to Turner.
My goodness. How interesting.
Was it pretty good water?
It was good water. Now we're going to go across the bridge, and then we're going to go to Cloverdale.
Shall do. People on this road are not forgiving.
You know, it's still country road.
Yeah.
Well, it's on modern over traffic.
This property here was this bridge here was the Moonshine Bridge in Turner in the 30s. You picked up your hooch from under the bridge.
Oh my goodness. I'll never be able to go over that bridge again without thinking about that.
This Parish Gap Road?
Yes.
Yes.
Nice bull.
I've only been to Cloverdale once, so I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
visiting it again.
Really?
Well,
That's where my husband is buried, is in the Cloverdale Cemetery.
all right. This is the Delaney sons' house.
Oh, that's David Delaney?
Delaney, yeah.
Oh my gosh, somebody, that house, that's a new house, isn't it? Is that
No, that's the old house
the
been
original?
remodeled.
and has it been remodeled?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
They did not have that upper porch.
Vicky will
They
be.
just had columns on it originally.
Well, the present owner asked me this morning where was David Delaney's house. She'll be thrilled to know.
That's it there.
Fantastic.
Go ahead.
It looks modern.
See, now this is all Delaney land.
Yeah.
Clear back to where we talked about.
Did they grow flax in these?
I have no idea what they had enough land they could have had everything.
I was going to ask you where David Delaney lived.
Now, I know none of you know where Cook Road is in Cloverdale, and I don't know that we will go because I can only tell you the story about it. Grandpa Cook lived in the corner of this road and Cook Road. Mrs. Walt Miller's mother was a cook, and I've eaten many a meal from her table. As a kid, I used to shock hay for all kinds of farmers in those days. Well, anyhow, Grandpa Cook was the only white man president, the last chief of the Calapoolies that died in Cloverdale. And when my dad was about 16, Grandpa Cook showed my dad where the Indian grave was. Oregon State got wise. My dad knew where the grave was, and they would come and want him to take and show them the grave. My grandmother, Ida Baker, Solan Baker's wife, had great respect for the Indians. She could even talk to them. In fact, she even had cooked breakfast for 3 years for an Indian chief. He'd come for breakfast. And she could conversate a lot with him in either Indian jargon or the words that she picked up. And so she did not believe that their remains should be disturbed. So she had that indoctrinated into her 3 sons, and neither one of them would ever. Now the mound field, that when we were over there by Gath, the mound field was that 10 springs that was in that canyon. That's where the Indians camped. They came down where the water gushes on the Turner Highway from off the hill. There, I should have commented about that to you. That's where the Indians came down, and then they went across that field and crossed the creek, and then came up, and that spring that I said, that was their next night's camping grounds.
I'll save him a few curse words.
Yeah, probably was frustrated.
So my dad only showed me where approximately the Indian grave was, so I have no idea about it. And so many houses have been built out there that I can't remember. So
I hope it's not under somebody's.
Other than
Well, it's safe then.
now, since he hasn't been to Cloverdale, let's just take a short ride here.
So we
this
don't
way
have to
for
for my
a few
sake.
feet.
I have been, but that's okay.
Now, this is McKinney Land.
Okay.
It's now part of we'll come back here to this place, and then we'll.
She's a lovely lady.
This was Carl Schiffer moved off of the Schiffer place to there, and he passed away in the past year.
Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
He and I went to school together. Now this is Cloverdale School.
In session today.
McKinney tried to sell me this piece of property when I was looking for a place to build a house. And I would have built there, but I had an uncle that was partially blind living with me, and he didn't want to. He said, "Well, I can't walk the turn from there," so I didn't buy. Now,
We're gonna go to Cloverdale Cemetery.
yeah, that's where I'm going. It's an active cemetery.
Thank you. There it is. In session today. Thank you. There it is. There it is.
Now Mr. Delaney's buried back in there.
Yeah.
Heidi and I came out to see Henry's grave, and there was a man, that man that's writing the book about Delaney. I met him out here.
In the Cloverdale Cemetery, Daniel Delaney and his wife is buried. They are located on this raised mound in the back of the cemetery. And this is his stone. Daniel Delaney Sr. died 1865. Elizabeth McGee, his wife, died 1867. They were both pioneers that came over to the Turner area in 1843.
These oak trees have sure grown since I've been here. Glad. Now, this country here, this is where my family comes from, Virginia. This looks just exactly like Virginia.
Really?
And Uncle George bought a farm right up here on the hill. And I often wonder why he settled at Turner, till I went back east to my kinfolk and spent 2 weeks with them, that I realized that he settled on land that looked just like what he owned in Virginia.
This is beautiful.
Yeah. My,
Somebody's brought cans out here and thrown them.
Somebody's been up here drinking.
Yep. Well, when we bought the property, there was sheep. There's sheep there today. I saw the sheep, and the chickens were singing. This is such a beautiful place.
This was erected to Daniel Delaney Sr.'s memory. It's at the entrance of the Cloverdale Cemetery.
Peaceful cemetery.
Yes, it is, and what a view.
Now that property over there to the south is the Staples property. Dr. Staples, Mary Staples, was a doctor, and she was married to Arthur Staples. Mrs. West Smith was a Staples. Mrs. West Smith's cousin was Sarah Childs. Mrs. Morrison, and my grandmother Briggs, and my grandmother Briggs, being a Virginian, was accepted as a real lady to this people. Mrs. Alex Morrison was the original Speckled Sugar Company's attorney, and when he settled the Morrison settled the Speckled Sugar Company, he got $1 million without taxes for settling the case. When Mrs. Childs inherited the money from her sister, she got $7.5 million. And
that's a lot of money then.
Yeah, that was a lot of money then. They used to, about every 2 or 3 years, they went to Europe for the summer. They did a lot of things during the Depression.
Now, do you want me to turn left?
We'll go back this way now. Anyhow, to finish it up, that's why I wanted to come up here where Delaney was buried. The other thing, it's 11 o'clock. You want to go see where the Pleasant Grove Church was?
Yes.
Okay, then we'll go back and I'll take you there then. Now the Delaney, the McKinney property is the Van Veldehuizen property now. If they still own it.
I don't think I've ever been this far on this road. So
Really?
no, I don't get out here very much.
I came out here
I need to take
every
that
other
on a
week.
tour.
Now this is the original McKinney house, the one brother.
Huh.
I don't think I've ever been.
Now we're going to go straight ahead.
Now, I want you to look up here at this, I think it's the second bridge. There is a trail underneath the bridge. The cows come out. It's up here. I just think this is so interesting.
These are all Turner addresses out here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or postal. Okay. You can see
You
by
look
the fire.
underneath here. See the cows come underneath the road
They sure
to
do.
the
Look at
other
that.
pastures.
Right there. Now, this is the original Hillary house. Right here. It wasn't here.
You want me to go straight or take
Go
the
straight
curve?
ahead.
Go straight.
The Hillary house was here where the Hendersons built the new house. They moved the Hillary house down there and sold that piece of the farm off.
So that house had been moved?
That house had been moved from here.
Huh.
A little late for corn to be out yet.
The corn hasn't been harvested yet.
Yeah,
No.
that's a little surprising.
Yeah, it is.
We have a
It's going to
different,
get moldy pretty soon.
different season than I'm used to.
Well, I presume that they make insulage out of this. Okay, now
We'll go this way now.
take a right.
Is
She'll
that
do.
the main railroad line we just passed?
Yep.
Really? Oh, we're on 55th. Oh my goodness.
Now,
You
this-
need to get out more.
Well, here it's paved.
Mr.
It isn't
Gary.
when you get closer to Turner.
Yeah, you go
I'm
that way,
very
it's not
provincial.
paved.
I just
Now,
stay in
if you go
Turner.
straight on this, you can almost go to Marion.
Uh-huh, that's right. Because you've got the railroad that just goes
Yeah,
right.
you got to cross over the railroad down there. But we're going to turn and go this way.
Well, they won't let us go through any other way. Look, it's a dead end. Oh, I'm going to ask you a question. On Marion Road, I call it the Fortress House. It's got trees all the way around it. It's got a whole bunch of barns, and it's got a gate.
Up here?
Yeah, over there on.
Okay. What do you want?
Who is that? What is that?
Well, the Keatses owned it, and the last I knew. That's a lawyer in Salem.
I call it the Fortress.
Well, I can believe that. And I've always called it the sheep barn.
What?
The sheep barn.
Oh, there were sheep.
That barn that sits to the north of that house, that's always been there.
Uh-huh.
Before the house was.
Huh. Now, which way do you want me to turn now?
Go this way.
Okay. Yeah, the sheep barn. Well,
Now this was the C.A. Bear. C.A. Bear. He was a bus driver for Carter, and the kids made more fun of Charlie A. Bear's C.A. Bear. The house was here, and they moved the house because of the street lights. They moved the house back down there. It's a
street
taller
light-
house.
Street. Oh, the lights come on the road.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
This was the Funkston farm. Go ahead.
Now this is where John Remy Jr. lives. Did you know that, Gary?
No.
And he moved those places back off the road.
Yeah, he built part of them.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I know where we are suddenly. I was lost, but we're going out towards the high school now.
Yes, we
I
are.
You
thought
know
we were
what?
clear south. I got really turned
You
around.
know what? We're gonna play. Was it Hansel and Gretel with you?
This, the original Turner Memorial Home was an orphanage. This was the orphanage farm.
The orphanage farm.
Yeah, right here.
Who owns it now? Is this
McNary.
McNary was the original orphanage farm? I didn't know that.
My goodness.
They have a lot of land there to grow.
Yes, big
Stuff.
piece of land there.
Talk to them about that.
I guess they used the food to feed the orphans.
Wow, as I turned around, I thought we were heading straight south. I had no idea.
Well, we made quite a few little
Well, I
turns.
know you did, and I know
That's
this
easy
road
to
very
get
well.
turned around.
I just was shocked when I realized where
You do realize we're going
when you
west
said
right
Jo-
now.
When you said John Ramey, I thought
Yeah.
you meant where he was raised out by Cloverdale.
We're going to go straight on. When you,
We're gonna go straight west right now, Gary.
now, the name Crawford. This was always called the Crawford District.
Huh.
The Crawford homestead, according to my knowledge, and I'm not positive, but this property here across from Cascade was the original Crawford donation land claim.
Crawford Crossing.
Ha!
Well, because Jay Compton, that's his family background is Crawford, so I'm guessing that's the same family.
This was it right here.
How about that?
I'm talking about our new housing development.
Yeah. Now, where do you want me to go
Go
now?
straight across.
I shall do.
Now, we're back in McKinney property. There was two McKinneys.
Oh, Brick
The
Road
other
was
brother,
up
this is the other brother. And the woman was at the meeting, this was
Yes.
her family. She was talking, this is the Tracy property. Tracy, Coleman Tracy's daughter lives on this house here, and Coleman's son lives on the other side of the
Okay.
Ball property.
Well, the Balls own property out here?
Mrs. Ball Grandma Ball was a McKinney.
Do you know where the old McKinney house is on Brick Road?
Yep, that's one of the things I'm going to show
Oh,
you.
I'd love to see that. Thank you.
We're just having a
I've
good
always
old
heard of
time.
that, and I've never seen it.
My granddaughter was married in this church at Mission Mill purposely because of the family background. Now this is the Ball property right here. Their piece of it in there.
The Ball family service
Ball
station.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Ball boys, Turner, they ended up owning that. Bob and El.
Robert. Or
They
Elton,
bought
yeah, Bob and
their
Elton.
brothers.
Yeah.
Their brother
Right.
Al.
Yep.
Did they own the Chevrolet dealership in Turner?
Yeah. Whoa. We want to turn here.
I've been told that Chevrolet dealership was the first one in the state of Oregon. Is that true?
It could possibly be.
I need to document that sometime.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go up here and turn around. This
That
is
would
just
be significant if
this
that's
is
true.
just too dangerous to
Oh,
turn
yeah.
around here.
Now, Betty Jensen family owned the property, did own the property here beyond this curve.
There's a driveway up here as you turn the corner.
Yeah,
right there.
I'll be real careful.
Oh, I know.
I promise.
I learned in rural Indiana why they have roads like this, because when they had the parcels of land, they just built around the roads around the land property, so they didn't necessarily cut through people's land. That makes sense? Did I say it right?
Or do the cow trails. Who knows?
Because in rural Indiana, I go, "Why?"
Well, I'll tell you, my grandmother told some yarns that turned out to be yarns. And my daughter and my daughter-in-law have run through the internet all kinds of research on Bakers, Ferrises, and Briggses, which are part of my family makeup. And my grandmother always said we were German, and it turns out we're English. We'll turn in here.
Wonder whose house burned down there.
Yeah, I see that.
What road? Are we on Brick Road now?
We
We're
are.
on Brick Road now.
Oh, that's cool.
Follow the red, yellow brick
I always
road.
wanted to see this house.
Oh, look at the, I forget what kind of cows those are called.
We haven't seen the Pleasant Hill Church site yet. Maybe it's down here. Boy, people lived a long way out of Turner in those days. When you think of horse and buggy.
What kind of cows are those that have that long hair?
Long-haired cows.
Oh, you.
Scottish.
I think so, that's what I was going to say.
You ever seen the Scottish Highland cows?
Well, we just passed them a while ago.
They are really long-haired.
Yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah.
They have to be because
Here's the brick house.
Wow, look at that. That is
That's the McKinney
substantial. Do you know when that was built? It probably mid 1880s or something?
No, it was earlier than that.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Because they came
Beautiful.
here, I've forgotten now whether it's 44 or 48, the
Yeah.
McKinney's came.
Isn't that beautiful? Wonder where they got the bricks.
There was a brick place over at Independence. It made bricks in those days.
And they call this Brick Road.
And it also did, you could buy Crocs and so forth.
Okay.
That was 1844?
It could possibly be.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll check it out, but I know that the Turners arrived in 1852, and maybe I'm wrong that the McKinneys came across with them. I don't know what to do with that, but it's still,
When we get back home, if you have a few minutes, come in and I have a book from Sarah Hunt Steves, and she is a pioneer family up near Silver Creek Falls, and she and my Uncle Abner wrote a book on Marion County pioneers. I found something the other day. I found my grandmother's booklet on Turner. And my mother wrote all over things in the borders about the house and the houses and the people and so forth. Well, we want to go on down to the end of this road now, figuratively speaking.
Isn't that beautiful? That is just absolutely
is.
beautiful. It's an estate.
It is. You can see it's a mistake.
It's gorgeous.
wow,
Look at this tree here.
wow.
There's an orchard.
Oh my goodness, this is
It is
beautiful.
amazing.
And then to look at the trash across the street.
And the
Oh my-
gal that's writing the history of the McKinneys,
Yeah,
I
we
think
want to turn and go
we
this
could
way.
get a tour of
Okay.
the house one day, maybe. If that's possible.
I'll roll up the window for you. I don't want you getting cold.
See, that McKinney history will be out soon. That will be helpful.
I've got a book called Under Her Wings. It's a compilation of all kinds of, just the whole
Dave,
Oregon
did you know there
history.
was a gal writing a history of the McKinney family?
No.
Oh, this is,
She was here at our big event, and it'll be published soon. And when she was here for our event, she talked about
aha!
Here's where the original church was.
Oh,
Pleasant Grove.
Pleasant Grove Church at the cemetery.
That's the
What
cemetery.
road are we on?
Is it Pleasant Grove, the road we're on?
What's the road we're on?
Must be.
Okay.
You call Pleasant Grove Church.
So was the church in behind the cemetery behind the church? Or?
No, the church, the school was, I think, was over here. It could have been there. I mean, the church. I can't remember that good. It was just here by the cemetery.
When was it moved to Mission Mill? Do you know? They'll know.
I don't.
They'll know. They have it.
It smells good out.
Somebody putting American flags out.
Yeah. Oh, that smells so good of woods. These people live just like you and I.
Yep.
Gone. Now, where shall I go next?
Well, we can turn around now somewhere.
Okay.
Soon back to Turner would be good for me. That's code language.
Okay. You're such a brat.
It's beautiful out here. Wow,
Good.
Melvin, this made my day seeing this right here. Thank you.
Well,
The
You
rest
said
was-
the church could have been over here on this side?
no.
No,
It's on the other side.
Well, either side of the cemetery is what I meant. It's been a long time since I saw
Yeah.
it there. That's
I was trying to gauge the trees, how
yeah.
old the trees are.
I would have said it was on this side, but I see that there's more space on that side, so I would rather think now it was on the other side of the cemetery.
So this cemetery is older than the one in Turner.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Look at the stones.
That's interesting.
and this is one of the oldest cemeteries in this area.
Yeah, okay.
Be interesting, interesting to read some of those stones. See the dates on them. It's amazing they're still standing.
I bet it was in here. Church, because it looks more clear.
Yeah,
This is a good
that's
tree.
what I was saying just now.
Now,
Well, we'll go back by the brick house. They've done a lovely job of making it look nice. When I was a kid, the windows were out of it.
Oh, so it's been restored.
It's been restored.
Ah.
I'm going to tell a story, and I'm not going to tell the name of the people, but very prominent people in Turner, when they were young marrieds, were a bunch of well, anyhow, they would steal people's chickens and have chicken roast. And the big brick church was one of their hideouts for their roast outs.
Oh, wow.
Of course, I had family that was in on it too, so that's why I'm not mentioning it.
See,
that's
this
a
side
lovely
here, now this side here is not brick. Can you see that, David?
Yeah.
Plaster. So it's got an S on the side of the house there. Maybe it's just a decoration, but it looks like an S. Okay, let's see what this is here.
That's a huge.
Maybe it's just a decoration, but it
Now,
looks...
there are people living there now, right?
Must be.
Somebody drove out of there a while ago.
Yeah. I think the gal that is researching this, she knows the family and has spent time here.
There's a little house back in there.
Wow. Almost looks like an English estate.
Oh, it's just beautiful.
Small.
Just beautiful.
Look at that tree trunk there. I mean, that cut off trunk. That's quite a tree.
Well, they
Yeah,
got a
there's
blackbirds.
people.
I heard a blackbird. Okay, robin.
Well, I'm getting some ideas that we could fill its coffers if we offered historic tours of the area.
There you go.
We'll just run Melvin's tape and just let him listen to them as we drive around.
I have one thing to say. I didn't get it out. We owe a lot to Reuben Lewis. All of us.
Reuben Lewis.
Lewis, yeah, we
Lewis.
owe a lot.
Lewis, is it Lewis?
Lewis. Lewis.
And why?
We owe him a lot. He and C.A. Davis of Almsville were late getting to Shampooey. Now, Abner Lewis married my Aunt Maggie, or Aunt Margaret. So that's really very much the story comes from both my grandparents, my great-grandparents who were Abner would be their son-in-law, Reuben, and there was a Negro that came to Oregon in 1849, and he did not know when he crossed into Oregon that he was a free man. And Old Travis was the town newspaper of the area. I think it's Grover was their names. They rented him out to people, and he became an efficient ox team driver. And they offered to give him his freedom if he would make equivalent of 10 cord of wood into fence rails at 50 cents a cord. And so he could get $1 by for driving somebody's ox team for a day. So he hired Grover's son to cut the 10 cord of fence rails and got his freedom. Okay. Now, old Travis used to come to my grandparents' his house, and he was famous. He had a string of dogs with him. Part of them were hunting dogs, part of them were just dogs. And he had them so well trained that they stayed half of them on one side of the horse and the other half of the horse. And he carried their feed on the horn of his saddle, the bags, to feed the dogs. And when he went to my grandfather's place, and he would spend the night, and the family was more than glad, all the families in Oregon were more than glad to have old Travis, because he was the town newspaper. He could tell about weddings, funerals, and, scandals, and everything else. So he would. Now my grandparents had a four-bedroom house. My great-grandparents did. So there was at least like a small guest room off the family room or the half parlor, and he would not sleep in the bed. He would lay on the hearth of the fire beside the fireplace, and that's where he spent the night. Well, anyhow, Davis and Reuben Lewis got to Shampooey. They had already drawn the line for the vote, and Reuben grabbed Davis by the shoulder, who was British or English, and pulled him across the line. Thus, that's why we're in the United States. So that's why I have great respect for Reuben Lewis.
By the way, this property is still owned by the Lidas.
Do they still own it?
Yeah, Betty is still alive, and they leased the land out. He was administrator at Turner
For
Christian
years.
Church. Pardon?
I said he was preached at Turner.
He
Church
preached
for
and then
years.
became administrator at Turner Retirement Homes, and he died about 6-7 years ago. There's a street by the Tabernacle named for him, just called Lida Court.
Well, that's nice.
There's about 65 acres there, I think. I think maybe one of their children or grandchildren live there.
I think Mr. Baker deserves a lunch out. What do you think, Mr. Baker?
I'll take you in the house and I'll show you some things. It'll mean more today than it will a week or two from now.
David and Jan, would you like to go out for lunch?
I'd like to see Melvin's home.
Okay.
So that would be good. Yeah.
Now this was all Ritchie property originally. Ritchie.
Richie.
The millinery shopping turner was Ritchie. And there was two Ritchie families. The property that Lida had was Ritchie land, and this piece was Ritchie land. Well, that's the road down to the house right there.
Here we go. We're going to the road to my house.
Come on, my house. Right, light of property. I'm trying to name this.
Turner Hills here was this all Ritchie land, the hills?
Yeah, this was all Ritchie land. John Mickey bought it from Leland Ritchie.
Oh wow.
I want to
He
ask you.
subdivided.
I want to ask you whose home this is up here in the corner.
That's John Mitchie's.
That big, beautiful home.
Yeah, that's John
That's
Mitchie's.
owned by the Bosenplutes. Remember, they came to city council. They're trying to sell it.
This right here.
Yeah, the big one with the big view.
Oh,
No, not
that's
this
so
one. The
beautiful.
one around the
This
corner.
is John Mickey's house. He's the man that subdivided this hill.
Okay. But the one right here with the big Victorian view, right there, belongs to the Bosenplutes. They've been there about 20 years, I think, and they were trying to sell it. Maybe I'm wrong.
They've sold it.
Did
The
they?
house, the property that we made that decision on is.
They own several parcels up here. It's down to the left. It's a dead end down
Oh,
to
I
the
know
left.
what you. Oh, I
I've
see
seen
what you're talking about. They
Yeah.
want to divide it.
it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Unfortunately, Jan and Dave, I know about property up here because we're dealing with land use decisions. People want to divide, subdivide, rezone, and all the time. So sometimes I'm looking at stuff up here.
I think this place here is so pretty. They keep adding on.
Yeah, they've done a wonderful job of landscaping that.
Yeah, and there's the
corner.
lake out there too. Yeah, when I give tours, when I take care, I say, now you're in for a big surprise. This looks like an alley, and it's going to be scary till we get by it. You think it's not the road's
You know
going to
what?
end.
We need a sign on this corner that says hidden. That
Well,
says
I
hidden.
mean, this
hidden
could really be dangerous here. I mean, this is really.
This is horrible. It
If you're
should.
not used to it, boy, you could go tumbling down.
Well, we need to say hidden driveways. These
I would
driveways.
just say turn around and go back for your own safety's sake.
I cannot believe owning a place right here. That is crazy.
Well, it's almost as bad as owning something on Eastwood Heights.
Oh, come now, mister.
Look at the steepness of all this.
This is the one that gets me, right here. And then this road right over here.
Yeah.
That's what I said to her. I guess I shouldn't have said it. I said, don't come crying to me when you fall off the hill. True.
Yeah. The grade on this road is pretty amazing.
Now, this is my daughter's home right here.
Oh, okay. And Jan and Dave,
This
you
one
live
here?
across the
Yeah.
street from...
My daughter Heidi
yeah.
lives here.
And where
She's
does,
a nurse practitioner at the prison.
Where does Steve
on
live,
death
who's on
row.
the city council? Is he right next to you or something?
Yes, it was just down the street.
I'll show you where he lives.
Okay, I need to know. I've never identified him.
I've
And of
never
course,
been down here
My
before.
predecessor mayor lives right here. This is where Paul Thomas lives. He
That's
was
where
here.
we met together, wasn't it, Gary?
Did we meet there with him sometime?
You were supposed to meet there. I think we did meet there. He asked us over, and
I don't think I've ever been in their home. Maybe I was and just forgot.
I thought we did.
We may have.
Oh, I know I was there and had a long talk with him.
This development up here started in '69, where they started to develop it.
Well, Bellevue, but this development didn't start till about 11 years ago.
Yeah.
The reason I know it's 11 because my successor bought one of the first homes up here. It's I call it the pole position home, the one on the corner when you go down the steep grade, the big rocky abutment. That's the one he's now sold. Thank you for dropping me off.
Okay, I want to show you Steve's house. It's that little greenhouse right over there.
Oh, greenhouse behind you or on the
Right over there.
Okay, so I thought he lived up here, and you guys live where? Just
Right over here.
Right there.
That's our house right here.
I'm just going to pull in the driveway.
Now, extracting me may be an interesting adventure.
I'm gonna get out so you can get out.
Just a family that keeps me in touch with me. I have a cousin in Calgary. I have 2 cousins in Virginia. I have a nephew in Austin, Texas. I can go on and on. I got to tell a story. It's an amazing thing. I started out that I was in '79. I was in Wisconsin in the morning, and then we went. My Pauline wanted to go to Madison because her dad went to Madison, and I stopped there. So we aimed the car from the town of New Star, Wisconsin, towards Madison on the map. We're driving this way till we got there, and we came along and signed a big sign, and it was about 8 feet high, or 7. And about 10 feet wide, and it was made out of logs. And it said site of Baker Sawmill.
Really?
So I and Ma Pauline had me get out and take a picture of it. And I did. And anyhow, to make the long and the short of the story, when Sue, my daughter-in-law, she was running the one on the Baker's family, and she finds out that in 1850 October, that my grandfather, Harrison, great-grandfather, sold the house to his brother-in-law, the sawmill and timber to his brother-in-law for $4,000. Well, I know that he built a raft in October, and I have the blanket box that he put on the
On the raft?
On the raft. I own it. And my son has got a new piece of maple. The thing went through the fire. We had a fire in part of our house, and so he's He's got the board sawed, but we haven't got it finished yet. But that's anyhow. I went to the Oregon Historical Society. Here we are. My grandkids were supposed to come and mow, but they only can mow on Thursdays and Fridays. And so far, we've had rain every time that they were going to come, so I haven't got mowed yet.
Well, today's Friday. And
they may come today.
It's not raining.
Will you come in?
Let me back up so you can get in here easier. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
There, here's it. How's this? So you can get to the walk a little bit easier. Okay.
We're coming. So did you build this house all at once or in pieces, you know?
Well, I've remodeled 3 times.
And what year did you build this?
I started in 47. I had this is the first piece we had it on, is this breakfast nook.
County.
Oh, shoes.
This is my breakfast nook.
Oh, yeah. It's nice.
Yeah.
Welcome. Shut the door. Come on in.
Okay, David, you want to...
No, we can sit in these chairs for a minute.
Okay, all right.
What's that book?
This book here is Remembrances of Marion County Pioneer from 1840 to 1860.
Oh, okay.
Now, we were talking about the McKinneys. Reuben Lewis came to here in 1842. Allen Davies is the man that he pulled across the line. He was here in 1842. He settled in Almsville. Delaney came in 43. Both he and his son, Junior. Looney's came in 43. That's Looney Butte out of Jefferson. John Aaron, 1845. Pringle, Virgil Pringle, 46. John McKinney, 1847. That article, she was also lived here near Salem.
Who was that?
That Indian woman.
Dorian.
Dorian?
This book, it's hard to read because it's part of a diary.
So you can just put it down like this and make copies.
Read, start reading right here for a page.
Okay. Thursday afternoon it was proposed we visit Baker's, none of them being members except Mrs., a Baptist, and the reason being that there were so many young people to be reached. We found them a very cordial, entertaining family. They are pioneers, came across the plain 32 years ago in an ox cart. It was between the years that the cholera took so many of the immigrants, and Mrs. B told of seeing dozens of bodies lying across the alkali plains. Our visit was pleasant, and we were treated to watermelon, pears, apples, and plums. They, like most of these Westerners, live bountifully. The Baker farm was surrounded by a snake fence, 7 logs high. They lived in a picturesque, strong-built log cabin with low, solid walls of logs and an overhanging shingle roof. The big open fireplace and a wide chimney looked homelike and inviting. By the side of the fireplace were 2 deer horns fastened to the wall, holding a rifle.
My son has that rifle now.
Really?
I gave him the rifle. My dad broke the rifle. He broke the stock when he was a boy. And so my son took and glued the stock back together, and then we sent it to a real gunsmith and had it replaced. Go ahead, I'll tell you something about the gun after you're finished.
And on the high mantel shelf stood the clock. 2 corner cupboards held their supply of dishes. Next to the house was a storehouse for apples, so that the smell of apples filled the whole house.
Hams and everything else.
They invited Janet and Will to stay for dinner and served a bountiful repast of roast pork, potatoes, vegetables, and fresh apple pie. After dinner, Mr. Baker put a big log on the fire and told them of his experiences as a young man crossing the plains. What was Oregon like in those days? Will asked. Well, we came here, said Mr. Baker. When we came here, said Mr. Baker, this valley was like a big open prairie with red clover and native grasses stretching as far as the eye could reach. There was a fine hay for cattle before people began coming in to plow it up and spoil it. All this oak brush has grown up since. The trouble with Oregon is that there are too many homesteaders, too much cattle. Now all the wildlife is disappearing. Mrs. Baker told of the sickness they had to contend with when nearly every family lost some loved one. After all those long years, her eyes filled with tears when she told of the death of her baby girl and how hard it was.
That's not true.
Huh.
Because Aunt Mary, I can remember seeing Aunt Mary.
and how hard it was to leave our dear one buried in that lonely grave in the desert sands. They started with fine furniture, chairs, table, and dresser, but one piece after another had to be discarded along the way. She proudly showed them a little rocking chair, the only piece of furniture that she had been able to save. When they left to go home, the bakers gave them apples, pears, and a smoked ham. Jeanette wrote, August 23rd, we returned safely to Mr. Cornelius after
That's enough.
That's another one. Okay. Wow.
That's very, very favorable.
Yes.
That tells it, and then Turner had sidewalks that they had to, when high water, they had to go over the railroad bridge to get uptown. Where the Turner Fire Department is, where the north side of the fire was the gunning property. And the gunning property was 4 feet off the ground, and the house that they bought for $400, it tells that it's ditched across Mill Creek, so it has to be the gunning house. Well, that goes with where my family story is. There, put it right there.
Okay. Wow.
So that's the book that they sent me. You can see it's shop worn.
Uh-huh.
Oregon Idol.
Well,
There's none of those that you could find any other place?
no.
No, I don't think that. I don't think that maybe Oregon Library, the State of Oregon Library has one. I know Willamette had a copy, and that was CB 1862 when that was printed. 1962 when it was printed. My wife dated it. They sent me the copy in there. I got it in
1969.
Is Turner's 100 years. You've never seen that before?
Uh-uh. Do you know Millie Humber? Her folks right off Delaney Road, she and her husband have property that her folks owned.
Oh, she was a Mudgett.
Yeah, I think so.
Can I have that one for a second? Here's that bridge that I was telling you about. See, the new school's here. This is the old school. And the road goes around and over the concrete here, but this road goes into the Turner campgrounds and then goes around back onto the highway.
Huh. It's a little rickety, isn't it?
Now can I have the book of
Shirley.
Now, this is the Turner first schoolhouse, my grandmother's house. This is Mrs. Ike Small. That's the house that is torn down. I lived in it till I was 4 years old. And
We're gonna have to make pictures, David.
this is the house that I'm talking about.
Okay.
Now this here is this is where the turnaround grocery
Cafe is.
This is Henry Earl, and Henry Earl.
Uh-oh. This
Yeah,
morning.
I'll get it. See the lamp over there on the table? The lamp there?
Yeah.
Henry Earl electrified that lamp back in the probably 20s.
Really? Really? Huh.
Yeah, it's an old Coleman. This was the washstand to my grandma Ida Solan Baker. And my wife and I took the back off of it. It had the towel bar. We didn't want. We wanted it to look like that. here's the bedroom set. This bedroom set's got a story and a half, and my kids are having a big go. Allegedly, a man came and lived with Harrison Baker for a year, and he made this furniture for my great grandparents.
My.
Now, see that chest of drawers?
It's beautiful.
Here's the rocking chair.
This one right here with the red cushion on it? Hmm. So that came across the Oregon Trail.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Take the bottom one off too. I want to talk about that.
Is that
When Jackie Kennedy went through the White House, she showed him a boulder material. It was upholstering material that was found in an attic in Pennsylvania. It was this same pattern.
Huh.
And I had this chair completely tore apart and re-glued. It'd been through 2 fires of people. It got busted up and loose, and I had it re-glued, and I was going to have that new upholstery. When I found out that was found in Pennsylvania, I said, nope, it stays.
That's right.
So that's why
Okay, you're gonna put that down first.
I put those 2 down first. I protect it.
so you still use it?
Oh yeah, regularly. Everybody loves to sit in it.
Would you like me to take you to lunch?
Okay, I'll go on. Here's the piece of my family.
Okay. We'll make a copy of that.
What page is that on?
201.
Okay.
Well, anyhow, I have the clipping. The woman that was with my grandmother when my dad was born, she died after I was married, and I have her funeral notice in here. Her name was Emma Jordan Pancos.
Hmm.
And she was Mrs. Tom Harron. You heard me mention that before.
Yeah. Grab your stuff.
Okay, we'll just leave these 2 here. That's where I had to get up every hour, every night when I went to bed. Every hour I got up and went to bed. And so my urologist wanted to put a permanent catheter in. And I had catheters put in so many times trying to get myself straightened up. I went to church one morning, and I was having trouble breathing, and the preacher was preaching, and I said to him, I'm having trouble breathing. So the pastor and 2 of the church board came down and prayed for me. I sleep.
Thank you,
I sleep. Last night I got up at 1:30. The night before I got up at 3:30. But I get up usually once and a night since then. God touched me, and I have no trouble breathing, and I sleep. And I can't much say thank you, Lord. Thank
Yes.
you, Jesus.
Yes, I agree.
Now I'll go potty. But that was wonderful to get to be a human being again.
Oh, yes.
How long ago was that?
Oh, probably 8 years ago.
Okay, I'll bring the car up a little bit closer.
Okay.
And I will go out and take some video around the house.
He discovers that she's researching the Bakers, and my grandmother Ida said we were German and spoke German. And anyhow, to make the long and the short of it, he paid was paid $4,000 for his holding in 1850.
How much you pay? $4,000?
They paid $4,000. The brother-in-law did for the sawmill and the land he had in Wisconsin. That had to be a pretty good-sized piece of land. And he built a raft, and he floated to Prairie du Chien. Now all this is grandparents telling the story. None of it's ever been written down. He floated to Prairie du Chien in October. Apparently, I'm saying that Aunt Mary was born, and he was somewhere near Prairie du Chien, and he put himself off, and the child was born. That's my guess. I may be wrong. But back to anyhow.
Okay, I'm going to get in here and get us a chair.
May of 1851, and with a large herd of cattle, my grandfather Harris, and apparently he had taken the $4,000 and bought the cattle, but he also Jesse Poole wanted a jump start on the Oregon Trail, so he said we need to start 2 weeks early. So the wagon trains that year didn't leave for 2 weeks at Independence after they started with this herd of cattle. And
How many cattle do you think?
I have no idea how much cattle, but we'll finish the story up with the cattle. He had his two brothers with him, and I often wondered how about the brother. Sue finds out that his parents, my grandfather's, great-grandfather's parents, were in Missouri, just out of St. Louis, on the river. And so that's how he got his two brothers. The older brother was in his 20s, and both brothers were in their 20s, but the older brother had been to medical school of 2 years. And whether he was married or what, I have no idea, although I have, in my lifetime, his two children have come to see me.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So the story is, he took the cattle from Sweetwater, Wyoming. My grandfather stayed with his wife and that small baby and brought her to Oregon. And his brother took the cattle to California to the gold fields, and he grass-fed them north of Sacramento on the highway all that winter and sold them after he put fat back on them.
Isn't that something?
And so according to my daughter-in-law, he stayed in the gold field for 2 years trying to make his fortune. And finally he comes through to Oregon.
No, that's not what I said.
Oregon, and he finds my grandfather, and he gives him $4,000 in cash.
Oh my goodness.
That had to be an honest brother, because he could have went back east and lived like a king. Because a farmer back there was $1,000. And so he pulls out and he goes to LeGrand, and he was a doctor at LeGrand for years.
Huh. Is Baker, Oregon named after him? No.
He's named after the baker that was in Lincoln's cabinet.
Okay.
And that Lincoln, that Baker could be a relative because, figuratively speaking, the Bakers came to Oregon before 1640 through Virginia. That my daughter-in-law is running back clear to Normandy.
Oh my goodness.
Let's go in the door and see what's happening in there.
I'm Tim Woods.
When was he robbed? In
1865. Killed right outside the front door here. There's actually pellet holes in the wall where the shotgun blast took place. And apparently he came out of the house, he walked down the steps, and they shot him. And these holes